Alright, hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another video. It's been a little bit overdue. I've had this kind of on the car for a little bit now, and I figured I'd give you guys a quick little review, even talk about the installation of my integrated engineering turbo inlet elbow. A lot of you guys probably, you're very familiar with this type of mod. It's probably one of the best bolt-on mods that you can do for one of these cars because, as you know, the factory pipe is a little restrictive. I'll include a little clip doing a comparison between the both of them. Now, the nice thing about this is it really helps open up piping to the turbo. It's sort of your last step before it goes into the turbo. Now, the installation is pretty easy. It's not terribly hard. I had a lot easier time installing this one than the last one that I had in my GTI. One thing I will mention, and I kind of wish they offered more of them, and as much as I love my IE guys, I wish they included more than one O-ring. Unfortunately, I ended up snapping the little thin O-ring that was included with the integrated engineering inlet elbow. I ended up finding a kit of them at the local Napa store, so that ended up working out, but it's a very, very thin O-ring. It's very thin, I think even compared to the factory O-ring, it's very small, so be warned, when you're putting it into the turbo, it's very possible that it will snap. So I guess that's just kind of my feedback. The only thing I would knock on it is the fact that it only comes with one O-ring and it's a little on the thinner side, but aside from that, went into the car really easily. Twisting it into the turbo was no issue, and I had a little issue lining up the bolts, but after you wiggle it into place, I recommend leaving the 2 bolts into the bracket loose before you mount it to that main turbo I guess screw, and so once you figure that out, it should be fine. It allows for a lot of flexibility because obviously every car is a little different, everything might fit in a little different, and they allow for a little bit of ease. That's something I liked about the IE ones. Overall installation, I would recommend to anyone who's really never done anything to your car. It's something you could definitely do. I will say, and actually I'll pop the hood and I'll talk a little bit more in depth as to sort of the things to look out for, because there are things to look out for. And into the heart of the beast. So as you guys can see, this has always been an issue for anyone who installs inlet elbows. It doesn't really have any budge at all. And so what I did was I took out the factory elbow and left that valve in, like, I don't even know what this is called, like if it's a PCV valve or what. I know this is, I think, my diverter valve, but I ended up, leaving this with the factory one and kind of just pulling it out, just so I have a little bit more flexibility when kind of rotating it. As pretty much anyone would, I ended up kind of like stripping a little of the plastic away, but it's still mounted onto this one easy. It's got a lot of, wiggle room as far as fitment, so I wouldn't worry too much about not, getting it perfectly on again, because it barely wants to come off, so it really wants to go back on. And in that regard, it's kind of never gonna not go back on, if that makes sense. So again, that's one of the struggles about this type of install. Again, the O-ring as well, but the O-ring is sort of an IE thing. That valve is a Volkswagen thing. It is such an annoyance, and I really don't like doing it. That's kind of why I was putting off the installation for a while, but I've had it on the car for 2 weeks now, and I've really quite enjoyed it. I don't want to get distracted, but one thing I recommend you guys doing, if you for some reason feel this weird vibration when you start up the car, especially if it's cold, and the car just really, your initial startup, the car vibrates, or the engine vibrates really pretty aggressively. So one thing to look out for is making sure your intake hose, if you guys end up going with an aftermarket hose that goes into the elbow, make sure that's not up to your brake reservoir. I still have to move mine a little bit because I'm still finding the perfect spot, but my brake reservoir is like touching this, so I have to move it away a little bit more, and I'm feeling a little vibration when I start up, so it's definitely because this is touching it. And the nice thing is, obviously, there's so much room for adjustment. They actually sent 2 different pipes, so one's a little bit longer, so that should I'll probably end up using that one. It's a little bit easier to probably work with, and you can just rotate it, loosen up some things, and make it work. It's really easy, and that's one thing just to look out for. I know it's not inlet related, but just figured I'd bring it up. Outside temperature is a measly 15 degrees. We're loving that. Overall impressions, I really do like it. It's definitely something that's gonna wake your car up. It's one of the few bolt-on mods that's actually going to make a significant difference because of how restrictive the factory inlet elbow is. So you know, as far as, you know, it's not, I don't think it's really going to give you any horsepower, less pedal to make this thing move essentially. So it's it's definitely something that is worth looking into. It's not a terribly expensive mod. It's actually one of probably the cheapest bang for your bucks because, again, of how much it does, how easy the install is, and how cheap it is just in general. So definitely recommend anyone who's interested in kind of waking their car up a little bit more. You can even do this over an intake. This is probably something that's also going to really benefit you if you decide to tune your car or even go big turbo. As you guys know, the more power you throw at it, the more air it's going to require, and it's always nice to just have that air readily available. Really, I mean, it's kind of spectacular, and it's kind of crazy how much of a difference this little mod's gonna do. The more you end up doing this, and the more you end up doing to your car, and the more, you know, aftermarket and everything you kind of pair together. So for me, you know, I did the intake in the inlet elbow kind of together, and I mean, I had the intake probably just standalone for a while, and then, you know, after doing the inlet pipe, they both go pretty nicely hand in hand. They both increase airflow significantly. You know, again, it's an easy install, and it kind of preps you for when you maybe decide to go big power. So I really like it. It really does help this car move. We had the valves closed as well as the DSG crackles turned off, so wasn't that dramatic sounding. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's really just good prep. It's good prep for when you decide to go big power. IE has some of the best hardware out there, so even if you don't, for some reason, for whatever reason it may be, if you don't decide to go with an IE tune, it's always good to have IE hardware. I can't tell you the amount of people who, you know, run different tunes just with IE hardware just because they like the hardware. I've tried a fair amount of cars, and I've, you know, had different products on my last car. And I don't know, I do really like IE. They have really good customer service, as I always, you know, say in my videos, and you know, they've been really good to me. So definitely they're worth checking out, guys. It's a really great mod. It's a cheap mod. It's super high quality, especially for the price. I mean, it makes sense why I think it's right around like $100+. You're gonna really enjoy it. So if you guys end up getting this, definitely let me know. Let me know how it kind of wakes up your car, or how it changed it, and kind of just your general opinion. I always like kind of following up with you guys. It's always exciting to listen to kind of how your guys' builds are going. You know, you can DM me on Instagram too if you don't want to comment. That's perfectly fine. Definitely recommend installing this and getting it. It's gonna really wake up your car. I'm gonna end the video there, but as always, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you guys again for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.